Guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video. The day after Manchester City's 4-1 victory over Arsenal in the Carabao Cup quarterfinals. This is our competition, and today we're going to look at 5 things that we learned from that game. It's going to be an interesting video, so make sure to subscribe as well if you're new to the channel, and hang on right until the very end. Before I do that though, I want to say, do you fancy winning a football shirt of your choice? Of course you absolutely 100% do. Well, why not enter the competition in the link in the description below? The wonderful people over at OneFootball got in touch and was like, Stephen, we're giving away a shirt. All people got to do is enter our Boxing Day giveaway and predict the outcomes of these 5 scores, for 5 games, on screen right now. You don't even have to predict the scores or anything like that. You've just got to predict the outcomes. You've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester, Man United, Liverpool, West Bromwich Albion, City versus Newcastle, and Spurs versus Wolves. And you've got to decide if it's going to be a home win, a draw, or an away win. It's dead easy. It's free to enter, and obviously OneFootball is a fantastic app as well. I literally love the app. Go and enter in the link in the description below by clicking that box, filling in a simple little form, and putting in your predictions, and hopefully you will win a free football shirt of your choice, which is absolutely wonderful. You've got like a couple of days to enter, so get going nice and quick and enter the Boxing Day giveaway by OneFootball. Right, let's move on to today's 5 things that we learned, and personally, we can't really start anywhere else other than starting with Phil Foden's magic. Once again, Phil Foden showed why, in my personal opinion, he should be starting every single game, every single week. Well, not every single game, you know, within reason. Phil Foden clearly shows that this kid is absolutely magic and he's only going to get better. I love Phil Foden. I think what you should ever judge attacking player on is, you should always judge attacking player on is their goals and assists output. And Phil Foden continues to be absolutely excellent. Once again, he scored a fantastic goal last night and got a delightful assist for a cross for Laporte. And what more can we really say about that? I was having a chat with someone on Twitter about this, and I totally agree that the idea that Phil Foden maybe is just a little bit by unrealistic standards is probably actually fair. I mean, he's 20 years old and he continues to create great goal scoring chances, and he even continues to score great goals whenever he gets a decent amount of time in the actual side. And surely, can we really expect much more from a 20-year-old? Are we maybe expecting a little bit too much from him already? I mean, he's doing more than enough given his tender years. So he's literally just a baby in football terms, and he still carries on showing what a threat he is. Phil Foden has magic in his boots. I do admit that occasionally he can be on the periphery of games, but all that should surely matter is that output. And what Phil Foden guarantees you is genuinely goals, it's genuinely assists, and it's moments of magic that scare teams. This is why, for me, he simply has to be involved in the first team a lot more regularly. He is involved pretty regularly, I can't deny that, but in Premier League games, use that magic and get him on the pitch, even if it's just for half an hour, 40 minutes in a game or something like that. Get him on. One thing I've also noticed is that he tends to be better the more he plays in terms of his time on the pitch. So even if he has a quiet first half, he gets better in the second half, which to me indicates a few things. One, it's either that he's got more energy than most people, so he can last a little bit longer. Or 2, maybe he's just more perceptive to Guardiola's comments at halftime, which is of course a good thing. Or 3, maybe it's that he's still trying to toe the line a little bit and try to impress kind of Guardiola by being a little bit safe. And in the second half, he starts to find a little bit of confidence, which once again is a good thing because it shows that he clearly is capable of going through the gears. Use Phil Foden, man. He's absolutely magic. And the second point I want to talk about is Emirates Laporte. I think it's probably fair to say it was a relatively mixed bag of a game for him, because I thought overall his defensive contribution was pretty damn good and he scored a goal as well. But I do think there was a lot of debate around his contribution to Arsenal's goal, and I think that's probably fair enough. Like I said, obviously scored ahead and got ahead of Laporte, and a lot of people were saying that Laporte should have been ahead of Lacazette for that, and he should always be following his marker and getting ahead of him. I would probably agree that it was a slight mistake. I don't fully subscribe to the idea that it was a catastrophic mistake, because he did have another player behind him, and you can see him pointing, telling Zinchenko to go and cover that play because he doesn't know where he needs to be. Having said that, maybe he should have made the executive decision to actually get ahead of Lacazette, because you can't mark 2 people, so you may as well mark 1 well, if that makes sense. It was a mistake. Was it a huge mistake? No. But having said that, at the moment, given how good Stones and Diaz are as a partnership, even tiny mistakes are unfortunately enough maybe to paint Laporte in a bad light. I think he played well overall last night, but it just shows you how difficult it's going to be to get into this side at the moment, because if you make a tiny mistake like that ultimately costs us absolutely nothing, unfortunately the spotlight's going to be on you. So what we've learned is that Laporte is clearly a good player, but then clearly he's got a spotlight on him, meaning he can't make mistakes at the moment because he'll be out the team. Is that fair? Probably not. But is it the cold, hard truth that he's got to face? Probably, unfortunately. Thirdly, we're going to miss Werner, man. We're going to miss this guy so much. Even at 35 years old. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being 35. I can speak from experience. He's still strolling around that pitch, being absolutely top class. Yes, I think it's probably fair to say his legs have gone to an extent, and he isn't the same bundle of energy that he used to be. But he still has that experience of knowing where to be, of knowing how to put his foot in and win the ball, or players you think they're far too comfortable in possession. And he obviously still has that quality to play those ping passes over the top and do a little 1-2 and get down the byline and set up an assist for Phil Foden. Fernandinho is genuinely a generational midfielder, once in a lifetime kind of player where they can do absolutely everything that you could require of a midfielder. And I'm absolutely gutted to face up the realisation that he's coming to his end of his career at Manchester City. We're going to miss him absolutely loads. Next up on my 5 things that we learned is the enigma that is Gabriel Jesus. He was so good at times last night, but also missed an absolute sitter, which had City fans, myself included, pulling out their hair online. It was very frustrating to see that chance he missed against a pretty poor keeper, if we're being honest, though it was a good save. But we also saw the best of Gabriel Jesus at times last night. In that first half, he was absolutely mesmeric. Loads of wonderful little feints and twists and turns, which shows just how good he can be linking up play and as a team player. And we also saw him score a good goal, of course, nipping in and getting ahead nice and early on, which hopefully you'd like to think should be good for his confidence. I think it's probably fair to say that he's never likely going to be Sergio Aguero in front of goal. It feels like we've seen enough of him now to make that judgment, but you never know. Players can change overnight like that. Like Sterling at one point went to a 30 goals season player for us, and it can happen. But I think we all know at the same time, what he can bring to the team is genuinely very valuable. There maybe are some credibility to the claims that he could be a great winger for Manchester City. So I do want to see him keep around the squad in general. I don't think he will go anywhere, but you do see moments like this and think, I wish we'd get a little bit more out of him. Maybe in the long term we can. And finally, I want to talk about once again City's commitment to the Carabao Cup. Yes, we did rest some players, but we did clearly want to win this game. We clearly did want to go through. Now, no one's stating the bleeding obvious here. Of course, he wanted to win. But once again, it was a pretty strong lineup where no youth was involved. Now, personally, I didn't mind that, though. A lot of people were a little bit frustrated not to see the likes of Delap and Doyle and so on and Cole Palmer. And I do understand that. But I also do understand the counterpoint that we're trying to play first-team players into form. And we're trying to find our goal-scoring edge. And we're trying to get the season going, basically, because it's been a bit of a hit and miss season so far. So I understand the frustrations to an extent, but I also understand where Guardiola's coming from. Personally, I was kind of fine with any alternative, either a really strong side or a side kind of mixed with some youth and some players rested. We got a pretty strong side, but with some players rested, which is kind of nice. But I'm not going to complain too much about no academy players' involvement. I think at the moment, a 4-1 victory against Arsenal using some first-team players is, of course, very beneficial to the squad morale and our confidence in front of goal. So I can't genuinely complain. I know we want to see more academy players involved, but at the same time, things aren't currently that rosy. So I do understand this urge to give players that need some game time actual minutes on the pitch. And I think it's fair to say that our squad currently is so big that we don't really have much choice but to rotate them into games like this, as opposed to just playing the likes of Cole Palmer, which would be great. But unfortunately, it's a problem that we've made due to having the squad size that we've got. Anyway, guys, that's just 5 things that I personally took from this game. Do let me know down in the comments what you learned from it. And don't forget to go and enter that OneFootball Boxing Day giveaway so you can potentially win a football shirt of your choice. Click the link in the description right now and enter. You've got barely any time left at all. You've got like 2 days. So get going because it's nearly Boxing Day. And of course, it goes without saying, I will see you tomorrow for a preview. But have a wonderful Christmas. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and get me to 50k. It'll be absolutely wonderful. For now, though, big love in a bit.